Hey loves! My name is Dantea and I'm your fave self-worth therapist and coach. And this is my show, Situationship. This show is about getting out of toxic situationships that go beyond partners to family and friends and everything in between, to living a life of joy and self-worth. Okay, let's get into it. Hey, it's me. I'm back again. I have these visions sometimes of me like being on, I don't know if it's like a radio show or maybe my own talk show. I don't know if I'd want my own talk show. That's the thing. I don't know. But the point is, what I'm trying to say is when I sit down to do the podcast, I'm always like, I don't know. I think I envision like radio shows from the 80s and 90s where it's like, all right, welcome back. You know, it's your favorite AM morning voice down here, or whatever that is. I don't know. Anyways, I am so excited to share with you all a talk that I gave for the Worth Everything program. And I just thought it'd be a really good idea to share what is discussed in the group. And so you can get an idea about what's happening behind the scenes. And I know some of you have expressed interest, and this here's to something else you can kind of listen to and kind of like a sneak peek, right? And so with this talk in particular, I talk about how to set healthy boundaries, how to ask for your needs, and most importantly, how to get those needs met, right? I explore people pleasing, situationships, obviously, and how it affects your self-worth overall, how it affects your outlook on life, how it affects what you become, what you feel like you now deserve, right? And how to break out of all of that. So I hope you enjoy it. Settle in, nestle in. And as I mentioned in the talk, and I'm going to say it here, if you have any questions, let me know. In the meantime, I want you to enjoy the rest of your holiday season. It's been quite a year. And a lot has gone down. Maybe I'll come out with something else either later this year or atop of next year to kind of talk about like what has happened. But it's been a lot. It's been a lot of growth. It's been a lot of new relationships, but it's been reevaluating other relationships, and it's been quite a ride. So thank you for hanging out with me this whole year. I appreciate you. Next year is going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully I get to meet you in person next year. And yeah, let's get into the show. Today we are rounding out the last module, the last two lessons in module 1. So the lessons that we're going to talk about today are how to identify a healthy relationship. And then the second lesson is how to set boundaries to get your needs met. Fun stuff. Okay, so how to identify a healthy relationship. So the idea behind this is, like, of course, you want to be able to go out in the world. You want to be able to look at your circle and be able to say, this is a healthy relationship. This is not a healthy relationship, right? In order to do that, though, we really have to step back and identify and know what is healthy, right? So when we think of like food as an example, what is deemed healthy, it's like whole foods, right? So not the grocery store, but like whole non-processed foods. So your vegetables, your brown rice, your healthy fats, right? Like omega-3s, like your salmon and tuna, things like that, right? We know that to be healthy because there have been studies to show like what our body needs, right? That's just like a quick example. When it comes to relationships, though, like where it gets a little tricky and complicated, is because relationships are complex. They shift, they form, there are all types of different things that can happen in a relationship at any given moment. So how I identify what a healthy relationship is a relationship where it has safety, where it has trust, where it has understanding, where I feel respected, where I feel heard, where I feel cared for, right? Where I feel like this person is really checking in on me because they really want to check in on me, not because they want something from me or they want to ask me for something. It's not like take from me. They really want to build on something, right? So that's how I deem healthy relationships where I don't feel like I have to be silenced, or I don't want to I don't want to piss you off, right? Like healthy relationships allow for things to stretch and grow and allow for challenging conversations and allow for uncomfortable moments, because we know we will get through this. We know that we're choosing the relationship and we'll get through this hard moment and get on the other side still being in relationship, right? This goes for friendship, this goes for family, this goes for romantic relationships, of course, right? So I hope you're starting to think about what is a healthy relationship. Really identifying, like if there's one thing I could ask you to do right now is to pause the recording and really write down what is healthy. Like what do I deem as a healthy relationship? I really don't believe there's any right or wrong. However, I will say what I named earlier, those should be like sticking points, right? Like you feel respected, you feel seen, you feel heard, you feel understood. You're not being disrespected, you're not being called out your name, you're not being hung up on, right? You're not being the center of attention to be made fun of, right? That's not healthy. It's just not. Also thinking about how does it feel in your body when you're not in a healthy relationship. We may have more experience and more knowledge of what it's like to be in a non-healthy relationship. So what that looks like, I'll use myself as an example. When I'm in unhealthy relationships, I feel very tense. Like oftentimes my stomach is like doing flips as if I'm on a roller coaster. I feel very paranoid. I'm overthinking to the extent where I like silence myself, right? Because I don't even know what's right to say. I don't even know how I can ask a question. And a lot of that is a mixture of both, and like myself and the person. Maybe this person has a hard time hearing criticism or feedback, right? And then because when I'm in situations like that, and maybe because my people pleasing background, I don't want to say anything that's going to rock the boat, right? So me not wanting to say anything because I don't want to rock the boat because I'm silencing myself, and them having a hard time taking on self-reflection and self-criticism comes together, and it creates a very unhealthy relationship, because now both of us aren't really saying what we need to say. Both of us are walking around in like very tense interactions with each other. This could look like passive aggressiveness. This could look like pettiness, right? You know what I'm talking about. We've all experienced it. That's what starts to come up in these moments. So really, really thinking about, okay, if I'm having a hard time identifying what a healthy relationship is, then what do I recall when I'm in an unhealthy relationship? Am I crying a lot? Do I feel like I always want to overeat? Do I find myself distancing myself from my family, my friends, things like that, right? Really thinking about that. And so really writing that down. So once you identify what a healthy relationship is, step 2 of that, which is the exciting and scary part at the same time, is going towards those healthy relationships. If you're someone like myself, I got to a point in my life where I look around and about more than half the people in my life that I considered I was really close to, including like partners, right? Whoever I was dating, they were not healthy relationships. They just weren't. I was constantly downing myself, constantly crying. And so I had to make decisions. I made them slow increments. Who am I going to separate from? I stepped away from a friendship. I think the following year, I stepped away from another friendship. I stepped away from someone I was dating. I stepped away from someone else, right? And so let's be honest. Let's like pull over for a second. Let's be honest. There will be times where you feel like, okay, well, I'll just tell them how I'm feeling and then things will get better. And so I'll wait 2 months and 2 months goes by and it goes back to the same shit, the same unhealthiness, the same dysfunction, the same disrespect. And so now it's like, dang, I know this is not healthy, but it's so hard to leave. I get that. And so that's why I'm saying, like, take your small little steps now to start making your way for a plan. Like, what's the plan? Do we want to stay with this person forever? Is that the plan? Do we want to have a healthy relationship? Is that the plan? Okay, do we want to see if we tell them all the things that we need and they meet those needs? If can we see if they can meet those needs? If that's the plan, go for it. Put it out there, see if they can meet the needs. And if they still do not meet the needs after you've said what you need, that's when we have to make decisions for our own sense of self, for our own sense of worth, right? What do I need? I need healthy relationships. This is not one. So I need to make my plan to step away from this. That makes sense? And please feel free to email me after this if you have any questions. Love to talk about this because this is really important. And it's where the rubber really meets the road, right? So after you've identified healthy relationships, using this new format, this new must-haves for future relationships, when you meet someone, because you meet someone, and I want you to be thinking about how are they lining up with this, with how I view healthy relationships. Are they respectful? Are they consistent? Are they checking in on me? Are they trying to manipulate me? Is it just a take from me? Are they pouring into me too, right? Thinking about that as you move forward. So I'm going to pause there and we're going to shift into the next lesson. Hey, I want to invite you to something really quickly. I want to tell you about something that I've been working on that is finally ready to start taking applications. It is an online group program that I created called Worth Everything. And in this program, it's 6 weeks of lessons and 6 weeks of group coaching calls with me. And in the program, what you're going to learn are how to know you are enough, how to determine your own worth, how to live your best life in singlehood, and most importantly, how to put your needs above others, right? In addition to that, there are other fun things that'll be a part of the program, like self-worth coping skills and how-tos for everyday prize women. And I'm so excited to welcome you into the program. I cannot wait to watch you on your glow up. I can't wait to see how you are taking up space and taking advantage of your life as it is, to see how you are honoring and walking in your self-worth and having self-love. I can't wait to see that happen for you. I created this program because I wish I had this program when I was in my space of not feeling like I'm enough, feeling like I'm too much to be in a relationship, feeling like I'll never be loved the way I deserve to be loved. In this program, I'll teach you exactly how to get your needs met. I'll teach you exactly how to really, really believe, really own that you are enough, that you are worth everything. So please apply. I can't wait to meet you. If you have any questions, hit me up, let me know. To apply, go to www.dantea.co, and I cannot wait to see you there. It's going to be great. So, lesson 4 from module 1. And as a reminder, I'll say this too. As a reminder, this is the module I Am Enough. So lesson 4 is how to set boundaries to get your needs met, right? So let's use situationships as an example. When we're in situationships, most of the time, 98% of the time, because I'm not going to say all or nothing, most of the time situationships can become very unhealthy relationship dynamics. No one's really getting their needs met. You maybe get half of it and you still want this, but then you can't talk about that because if I talk about that, the situationship will end. I'll have no one, so I don't want to say anything, right? No. We've just talked about how to have healthy relationships. Now, do I believe you can have a healthy situationship? Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know how long it will last. I don't know how long it will be healthy. I don't know how long you will sit in something that's not meeting all the needs, right? I have no idea. I think it's possible. I don't think it's a long-term plan is what I'm saying. Saying it from experience, really, truly from experience and from what I've seen in my work with other people. And still, when you find yourself in situationships, it does not mean boundaries go out the window.
at all. Does not mean you still can't get your needs met. If your need is to like have someone I can have sex with on Friday nights, right? Then let's talk about that. And so setting a boundary, like if you know the plan is every Friday at 5 o'clock, we're supposed to meet and we're supposed to have sex for an hour and that's it, right? Let's just say that's what it is. No judgment, no shame. Let's just talk about real stuff, right? So say that he doesn't hit you up on Friday. You don't hear from him. He goes ghost, whatever. And then the following day, it's like, hey, how are you doing? Totally not even bringing up what happened the day before. Totally like moving on. Nothing happened. I never dropped the ball. I never said I'd be somewhere and I wasn't, right? Like as if it never took place. Right. Okay. So you find yourself in this situation. Many of us have. And now it's like, do I say something? Do I keep it cool and cute because I don't want to come off as a nag, whatever? No, this is about respecting self and then teaching others how to respect you. So when that happens and they say, hey, how's your Saturday or good morning or whatever, you have every right to be like, hey, what you did yesterday, it really hurt me. It had me feeling like you just blew me off and I don't appreciate that. And so I like to talk about what happened yesterday, right? Right? Okay. So say they're like, okay, let's talk about it. I want you to know that you have the right to state your boundary. A boundary could be, if this were to happen again, if you were to blow me off again next Friday at 5, I'm going to have to step away from this relationship. I know you may be thinking like, oh my gosh, that's so hard. I can't do that. It's just one offense. Like, how could I I don't want to be so strict. No, what's happening is you're putting up an expectation, right? You're putting up an expectation. You're not texting like, hey, if you do that again, it's over. No, you're having a conversation first. Hey, let me know what was going on. This is how I felt. Let me know what was going on. And if you guys really talk about it, then put it out there. I really don't like to feel that way. It makes me feel like I did something wrong. It makes me worried. It makes me wonder about your safety because I didn't hear from you. I don't know what's going on, right? And so you can put that boundary out there. The boundary is basically saying, I am someone that respects my time. I am someone that is committed to our meetups at 5 o'clock on Fridays. And I need someone to feel the same way. And so I'm not going to be able to continue to not know what's happening if your behavior continues, right? It's all about protecting yourself because again, you are worth everything. You deserve love and happiness. You deserve to be respected. You deserve all things, right? So putting that out there, letting that be known. I'm just going to pause there, let that sit in for a moment. You may be wondering, well, what if they don't want to have a conversation, right? Like, what if they're like, oh my gosh, like I fell asleep or something with my family or whatever they could say, right? Whatever they could say. Then I want you to really ask yourself in that moment or whenever the conversation, however the conversation goes, right? Sometime that day, once you have a conversation with yourself, go back to the most recent lesson we just talked about today. Is this a healthy relationship? Do I deem this as a healthy relationship? Thinking back to the list, am I being heard? Right? Because this person is just trying to cut you off, not have you talk and silence you. You're not being heard, right? Thinking about what's happening here. Thinking about, is this something that I want to continue? Also, you'll be very surprised how when you make your boundaries known with these people that you're dating, with men, we'll just stay on this topic of situationships in a romantic sense, you'll be surprised how they meet the need. Some people, like in the second example, some people be like, no, not for me, or you're being so complicated. Okay, call it what you need to. I just know that I respect my time and my space. This is something that we agreed upon. You'll be surprised how many people will say back to you, okay, I understand that. That's my bad. Maybe they'll even say, I want to see you today, or Next Friday, no problem. I got you. I'll be there. Right? Like, oh, cool. All right. Right. You can also set boundaries in other ways, like setting a boundary of like maybe no pop-up visits, or setting a boundary of when I call someone and they don't call me back, really thinking about like the conversation I may want to have with this friend to talk to them about what do I expect, right? Maybe you have a boundary with like during sex, you don't want to be called a bitch or a whore or a slut, like, you know, that kind of sex talk. Maybe that's not what you want. So then you can put the boundary out there. Hey, like when we're even in the moment, hey, I don't like to be called that. I really appreciate if you don't call me that. So again, a boundary is about taking care of yourself first. It's not about what's best for this person to handle. It's about taking care of yourself first, right? Serving self first. I have these boundaries, and we have boundaries. Why do we have boundaries? We have boundaries because we want to make sure we are consistently in the most healthiest versions of ourselves, right? If we didn't have any boundaries, then we'd just be taking anything that happens that comes our way and continue to accept it. If I didn't have a boundary of in any close, intimate relationship I'm in, I must be heard, seen, and respected, and I'd be unhinged, truly. I would be walking around this world unhinged because I'm not setting a boundary for myself. I'm not looking out for my best self. I'm not looking for ways to protect myself. If I was constantly in relationships where I wasn't being seen, heard, and respected, I would be so unpleasant. I would be super depressed consistently, super anxious, super paranoid, right? All that would be taking place because I'm not setting boundaries for myself. I'm not looking after numero uno, which is yourself, right? I just be like going along aimlessly, not really knowing, right? And that's not what we're doing anymore, because we're worth everything. That's not what we're doing. So I'm hoping this is making sense. I'm hoping you're understanding like the importance of identifying what does healthy mean to you, writing that down, doing an assessment of your circle, going towards healthy relationships, using that list that you'll write down. Then the second lesson is how to set boundaries. How do you set a boundary? You think about what you need, right? You think about like what's not happening. What do I need from this? Setting that boundary and then sticking to it, right? Upholding that boundary. So you say it by speaking it out. You set the boundary by speaking the boundary out loud. And then seeing if they're going to meet that need or not. And again, you'll be pleasant. I say pleasantly. You'll probably be surprised by how many people meet that need. You just got to let it be known. You got to let yourself be known. It's all about self. Let yourself be known. Okay. I'm going to stop there because I don't want to keep beating it down. I think I'm feeling hopeful that you understand what I'm saying. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Like I said before, this is going to be a very short lesson because it's just me here today. And I go through the things quickly and I try to keep them concise so it's not like overload. And I'll see you next Tuesday.
Thank you for listening to the show, loves. This show was produced by Mackenzie Mazel and me, Dontea. If you got a question you'd like me to answer, which I know you do, please send it to dontea@soireesintherapy.com. That's SOIREES for soirees. When you do that, the answer might just become an episode, and I would love to keep talking about your question. Want to work with me? The link is in the show notes. I'll see you there, and I'll see you in the next episode. Okay.